Okay, now it is rolling. I thought we started. Yeah, I think we should start with our call.
Well, we've told people to come at 6, it's 20th.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
for those watching at home, we had some technical difficulties. We just got the camera figured out. So far, we've done our roll call. All 5 members of the committee are present. We approved our minutes for the May 30th meeting. Public comments will be held at the end of our meeting, but tonight we are doing our first breakout session. So we're gonna try to breeze through the meeting so that we have more time talking with our citizens that have come tonight, so. I don't know if there's any member updates that people wanna share? Yeah.
I have an update on legal. So I reached out to my cousin's husband and he feels knowledgeable because he works for some office down in Columbus. And he is not allowed to take outside work from that. It's against their policy. So I also wonder how often that will be for lawyers who are practicing. So anyways, though, he did recommend, he's going to connect me with someone out of an office in Greenville to see if they would know someone who's kind of an expert in this field as well, like sunshine laws and these types of things. So he has some connections. I feel like I'm kind of headed at least down someone who would give us hopefully a good quote. Besides the emails that you guys exchanged today, that was my own work.
I think, there's a lot of attorneys, maybe not a lot, I don't know how common it is, but, there's a situation, it's kind of like what the law director Frank Patrizio does, where you have private practice, but, attorneys also will work for cities, whether it be prosecutor, defender, or however, or they'll work for the city office like Frank is doing for the law director. And I think if we could find someone with that kind of experience, that would be beneficial, just because they would have that knowledge of municipalities and whatnot. But
I was so bummed because he's like, well, you would be set up by the newer, and I'm like, yeah, I want you to help us, but you can't. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer because he's kind of
he's in the state of Ohio, or okay.
Yeah, because he's out of Columbus. Yeah, so it's
So
against.
you can't help us paid or not paid,
Correct.
either way.
Correct. It's against their policy to help outside. I mean, obviously, what his advice to me was like not.
Right, that's just personal, yeah.
Yep. So, but he hopefully will know someone that knows someone.
So the Ohio bar just directed me right back to the dating bar, and they were closed today, so we'll try to.
we just might as well wait and see what we'll find out the next week, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
We only have 2 weeks to see them.
I think we can
And also-
keep chasing that.
Yeah. I'll keep down this path and see what. I mean, at least let's get a rate and see if we find someone whose specialty is in somewhat of this field, and then what they would charge us for an hourly rate or something.
I ran across the term ombudsman. What is that, and is that a option for us? OMBUDSMAN. It's not an attorney, but something lesser, but in the area.
I didn't look out.
I would prefer an attorney.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I prefer it.
So I'll reach out to University of Dayton Law School.
That'd be nice.
My nephew graduated there, my son's gone there, and so, I graduated there, so I'll check with them. They do a lot of placement, they work with a lot of local attorneys, and they get students internships, so they would know what firms might be, the ones I should start talking to.
And if you get to any dead ends, let me know too, because I also graduated from university, go Flyers.
Here you go.
But we also have a leadership program with UD,
Okay.
with Crown and UD have a leadership program, so I can try that
Transport.
route. But I'll let you go first.
Yeah,
You go
I'm work
first.
with that, and I know David has some connections with Ohio Northern Law, so he might go and reach out to an old professor and see if they can pull forward here.
Professors would be a great source of knowledge, and
So, Yeah, I just think we're gonna spin our wheels going to too many different places. We're gonna get some shady guys, people just looking for a fast buck who aren't really knowledgeable what we want, so. I wanna try to get with an expert to line us up with an expert, you know, so I really don't wanna travel down too many roads and not waste our time.
Well, Tom, you set the 2-week deadline, is that flexible?
I didn't set a deadline.
Yeah.
You see,
I heard you say 2 weeks.
Well, I said if you guys wanted it, I mean, the next commission meeting's in 2 weeks, if you wanted to get it soon.
So you didn't mean that as a deadline?
No, I just meant that was the next available time, and I mean, realistically, if you guys did have something a little bit sooner, the commission might be willing to have an emergency small session just to approve that, we've done small budget requests like that in the past. But, no, I just meant that like 2 weeks is like, that's like your next obvious window is when the next commission meeting is.
Okay,
So, yeah. And I'd like to get to it as quick as we
Oh,
can
yeah.
also, so we can put some things to rest that we've been thinking about. But, I mean, the attorney, we're all kind of working on it and travel some different paths and try to find somebody.
I did take the sunshine law training. It was primarily focused on document requests and more from the perspective of the authority that has the documents that somebody's coming to them requesting it.
Okay.
So out of a 3-hour training meeting, it was only maybe about 20 minutes at the end that they talked about open meetings. And I happened to get this today, this manual. I don't think there's a clear answer yet, so we really need some legal advice from somebody who really knows. We just don't seem to fit quite into the categories.
No. We are a government agency,
I think it's
so,
it's kind of a gray area.
yeah. So I think we stay within the balance until we find out we can move a little bit. We've done a nice job of trying to stay clear of that, so until we find out we can or can't, I think we just keep doing as we have been doing. Hampshire, we talked about having it next week, but because of the agenda for the breakouts, and Nancy raised a good point, how do we reconvene and bring that in later? So they're flexible, we can move them back and we can work with them, so we'll see how next week's breakouts go, see how those nights go and next week's. And if we need to do another one a week after, then I don't wanna set them up and we say, hey, yeah, but these are going really well, and we gotta keep pushing back, so I'd like to wait until after next week's breakout session before I start working on a day with these guys. So I'm curious to see how these go.
So the earliest would be that 20th or whatever day it is, okay.
And I think from the commission meeting the other night, we talked about the interview process and we talked about who to interview. So, so from you guys, I'm putting together my list of people that I want to interview. So I think was that our track? We're all gonna put our list together and then start forming it as a group?
Yeah.
Is that my understanding?
Do we wanna do that next week? In a short meeting, doesn't take long to
Yeah, we
put
can.
lists together.
Well, I thought we could just send a list, you know, to you, here's my list, you guys want
Oh,
to
okay.
email, and then we can all just kind of start that.
Just make a master list.
And also the same vein, I think, just some general questions. Not that we have to do it at the same time, but start thinking about the questions for each person we want to interview. We don't have to send that right away, but I just start forming those questions, so when we get to that point, we
You
can
know,
start that.
a date that you want names before the 13th, that's the next meeting, would be after this, but you don't wanna wait till that night to throw things at you, do you?
Oh, no, I mean, I'll start sending my list. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I like the work we do, and I've been involved in this committee, but I also like my weekends. So you'll see something from me on Monday,
Yeah, I hope that's okay.
okay? So, but I'll put the list together of people that I wanna try to interview. It works.
So you want names to get to you?
So we can just send
Send them.
Just send it to everybody.
Send them, just go ahead and do the group, send,
Okay,
yeah, just do the group.
Okay. Who's, I feel like where you're going is who's owning creating a master
that's,
copy?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll do the master copy,
Okay.
you send it to me, yeah, I'm happy to put that.
So
on.
send names to everyone, Joe, you'll create
I'll
the master.
forward that.
Okay,
I didn't pick up on that, Jim.
I'm sorry, I didn't say it that way.
I like to delegate.
Do we get paid?
I don't know, it'd be nice.
One thing I would like to do in an upcoming meeting is to get the easel out and just start talking about what do we actually know? And maybe vice versa, two easels. What do we know and what do we not know?
Yeah.
Just get down to the very basics. And that could maybe lead us on a path somewhere.
Yeah, that's why I think after tonight's breakout, we'll have a little bit more knowledge and that we can start talking about what do we know.
Yeah, not what do we think we know, but what do we actually know?
100% agreed.
And then with that evidence as
Yeah, what can be
the, yeah.
Yeah.
The number system we talked about last time.
And I was thinking about the breakout sessions, we have to have 2 people from the committee in the room to interview the citizens that are coming in to talk. So that leaves one person not doing interviews. So what I tried to do is get an extra room at the library, so one person not doing interviews can grab the timeline and just start putting their information on the timeline that night. That's your night to do your timeline updates. If you're not interviewing, here's another room and you can do that. Does that make sense?
I'd have to have all my materials with me.
Okay, well, I got a couple notebooks, I could do mine and just be in the room with
I
that.
don't have anything with me either.
No, I mean,
I mean, I can keep myself.
And that's okay, we know now.
so,
We can get some things if you want.
yeah, so tonight I think it'd be, just through general discussion, it was understood I was gonna be a lone person tonight, so I will start working on my stuff. So I'll just work downstairs. And then you gotta leave and then I'll jump in for you, so. But then I think we also talked about these breakout sessions, we wanna have 2 people in each room, but we're gonna rotate who those 2 are. Not every week we're gonna have, that way one of us is not always setting out, right? So each week one person's gonna set out and we'll just switch it around. So I don't know how we determine who the 2 and 2 are. You know, I mean, like I said, tonight I'll volunteer to set out. So next week, if somebody else wants to say I'll set out, then we'll just start working that way.
What time do you leave it here?
6:30, well, I said like 6:45 and then I was like,
Okay.
well, I'd like to maybe eat something before,
6:30.
yeah, 6:30.
I did have a question on the timeline. Would it work if we, instead of we physically fill out the little sticky thing, we just send you the information with the date?
Yep.
And then you can do all
Yeah.
the little sticky notes?
Yep, and I'll create the color code system and yeah, I already started changing out mine, cause I only have purple and blue sticky notes, so I already have been changing mine out. Oh, you're gonna add. Man, I'm gonna say no to sticky notes. These are like a researcher's best friend. Yeah, so feel free to send me, you know, even if it's just like a one-off email and just look, I mean, if you can just put in the title, agenda so I don't miss it, is like needs to be added to timeline or timeline edition or something like that. Cause then that way I can filter all my emails to that title and then I can make sure I get it auto and I don't miss emails. Especially sometimes when we build up in email chains. So just create a new email saying like timeline edition.
Okay.
And then I'll make sure I add those throughout the week as I get them.
Perfect. All right. So we've got 5 minutes left before we break out.
I was gonna ask, the posting this just made me think, did you ever hear anything back about your expenses, or
No,
you never heard anything back?
not yet. Well, Frank said he'd take care of it, but he said I would get reimbursed. But I figured these things don't happen fast,
No, they don't.
So maybe,
so I'm not concerned. Yeah.
I just don't want us to forget.
No, I'm not forgetting that. I'm just okay with a little bit slow process. I guess it'd take maybe a month. So next week, the agenda will pretty much be the same.
Okay.
So for tonight's breakout sessions, we have what, David and Nancy are together, and
And I'll go with
Jim,
Eric.
and I'll jump in with Erica when she takes off. And
Okay.
then, like I said, next week, whoever decides they wanna step out, then we'll just switch the teams up and into them too.
And if anybody's already talk to us again. You may know more, we may know more, we may know more questions to ask, don't shy away.
Yeah, the whole purpose of the breakout is so that you can share documents and we can look at them and you can take them with you. That way, all we have is knowledge. We're not taking more work product and handing it off to anybody. You don't have to worry about us taking your stuff and giving it all away. It's gonna be trapped up here, but it cannot be foiled. I mean, that's my intent. I don't want people to have to start, when we get something, we have to be foiled, it's gotta be turned over. My intent is to have a frank conversation, kind of, in an interview setting. So we can all say what we wanna say frankly and look at these documents and say, okay, here's this, I can, you know, if they take notes on it, I can take notes, but like, I really driven it out to have notes, if you need something later, call me, or if you're not come back, or whatever, however that works. I'll come to another breakout session, and we can have a second call about that. That's the whole reason, is it's just an interview session, just question and answer. And, I just think, you know, whoever's coming in to talk to us, they know their information. And I think they need to kind of run triage on what they think is the most critical and important that they need to discuss. And let's start there, because there's a lot that we have to get through. But let's start with the top 5 things that they feel like we need to know and they want to show us. And then we can have another breakout session and they can go into the next phase or expand on that. And then they can go, if we have to go again. But I just want to make sure that we get through this in some sort of sequence and order. I want to make sure that they kind of control it. Break down what they think we should have and start with that. So that'll give us a better roadmap of what to look for. That was my thoughts on the whole breakout session.
Does anybody wanna borrow this?
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
It's pretty dry.
It's great that reading material.
It's been a couple weeks since I've been at some of the meetings, mainly because of my fault, but is the panel still looking at doing a chronological timeline?
Yeah, that's what we're
That's what
talking
They're
about.
also looking at doing 5 or 6 specific areas. You had mentioned possibly chemistry, and something I would look into because of my background. Are you still looking at doing that also?
We haven't talked specifically about
Okay.
a timeline for chemistry or just
No, there's,
information about
There's
it.
things of specific that, for example, Di might have a lot of information, and I know she does, on certain things as far as connectivity of ESRG with other entities. I know that Lisa has a lot of videos and pictures of things. She has a lot of emails that she has shared with me, so I didn't know whether you were still looking at trying to have 4 or 5 different subjects that you're gonna have.
I would love your expertise on that.
Yeah, I think definitely, like chemistry, like we definitely wanna get to that, I just don't think we've gotten that.
Okay,
But that could spur us along.
sure.
And I think we talked about in our earlier meetings about bringing an expert in and,
Yeah,
you know. So I think it's likely to happen, so, yeah.
we just gotta phone up our knowledge a little bit before we ask money to come in, and so we know what we're asking and understand a little bit more.
But Jeff might be able to tutor us along that line.
Yeah, we can all use that.
So we're confirmed then for our next meeting next Thursday.
Yeah, the 13th.
Oh, we don't have the room. Oh, we're doing it downstairs in one of the rooms.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
there's
I'll get
just, there's they're just.
So for everybody else, we're not having this room reserved for next week because it's schedule problems with the people that work here. So we're gonna meet in one of these two library rooms
On the second.
on the second floor.
As far as,
Speaking of.
as far as recording,
Well, what if we just cancel the meeting and do interviews?
just do the breakout
Yeah.
sessions.
Because otherwise, our equipment's being, I mean, we just,
Well, that brings a good point.
we'll move up, we'll just go 2 weeks after we learn more from today and next week.
They don't have video recording in those rooms downstairs, so
Right.
we were not
I
gonna be.
I don't see that going to the second floor.
No, so.
Or I would do, I would do another day, I could meet, Thursday and another day next week if you guys want to do that. If you don't, I don't want you guys to feel pressured, but.
I hate to skip a meeting.
Skip it?
I hate to.
Oh, yeah.
You guys could ask if the commission room's open.
If what?
The commission room at City Hall's open. It might be. I don't
That
know.
wouldn't give us enough time to get back for the breakouts.
Yeah.
Cause it should only be like a half-hour meeting.
Just, I don't know how we work it out.
So there's no rooms up here available next week?
I don't think anybody's gonna be in here. I asked
Okay.
the woman that was setting things up,
Sure
and
looks
there's
like
a
a bed.
vacation schedule overlap. There's
Okay.
nobody to set things up.
We kind of set it up on our own tonight, didn't we?
I mean, this thing's on wheels, it's just got one plug on it.
Yeah.
It'd probably make it through the elevator. It got up here somehow.
Yeah, right, it probably is like maybe another freight elevator or something like that.
But to get up here,
Yeah, I mean, getting up to the fourth floor, if nobody's here, how do you get up here? Do they have to unlock?
I think it'd be
the-
locked. I think it's gonna be locked.
Yeah, so we would be able to get access to this anyway to bring it to where we.
Oh, I don't mean that you guys would come up here and walk it down there yourself. I meant ask the facilities people to do it for you. They might.
Some of us are doers.
I see that.
He's like, can I lift it?
We'll take it down the steps and watch it go.
I take that responsibility for it.
So, you know,
Since you booked the rooms, do you just wanna see what options they might come up with?
Yeah, I'll check with them and see if they can get us something with video down there, okay, and I'll let you guys know. And we can decide,
You might be able to find that out.
tonight,
Yeah,
I'll
tonight.
check for tonight,
Okay.
we'll see, so why don't we keep the meeting for the 13th on the books, and then if we have to cancel, because we can't get video, then we have to cancel.
I don't have to send it in till end of the business day Tuesday.
Yeah.
Alright,
So we'll keep the meeting for next Thursday, the 13th. If there's nothing else, then make a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
I'll second,
I'm not sure that's the word.
So be it.
I'll second,
Okay.
and then we'll meet,
Downstairs.
anybody wants to meet down in the room downstairs, we'll be downstairs, on the second floor. 2 conference rooms at the top of the steps.
We get there by the elevator.
They're on the elevator.
Is that open?
Get there by the elevator,
Oh, from this, yeah, you go,
you go to the second floor,
yeah,
Karen?
there's a,
I feel like the only floor you can't go to is
third,
third.
and it's full of trash. Not
I was wondering.
trash.
Antiques, aren't